DIY.
Look, I believe Kendrick won the battle. Unequivocally, is not a doubt in my mind. There's not. But I was critical of Kendrick. People miss that part.
Right.
Like I'm like, listen, man, when Pusha T said you're hiding a child, and then all of a sudden a child appears, it was like, oh, that's crazy. Like, listen, Kendrick said there was a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen the daughter yet, is what I'm saying. So it don't hit the same as when, right. You know what I'm saying?
But was that the smoking gun? You think that was like
no? I think he won despite that. But again, if it's balls and strikes, right?
Right. I get what you're saying. Yeah,
Ball one. Like it ain't, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't this thing where it was like every hit landed, every blow landed. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Kendrick won that battle because he was doing the better rapping, had the better records, and his strategy, he was just strategically prepared for everything that Drake, he was just more prepared.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And had the better records. Yeah, man. Okay, yeah, we didn't see a daughter. Okay, so you know what I'm saying? Not like us, like, you know, it's just what it is. So, but I could call it in that way. Like I have to be real. Like I have to be fair. Like, but the same thing on the Drake side. Now everybody is saying, well, Kendrick got too personal, and he, you know, that's low to call him a pedophile. How can he call him a pedophile? Hey, man, you said the man beats his wife and his best friend fathered the love child that he is now raising. Like we cannot move the bar. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you know, you could call it both ways, and at the same time, not everything Drake did. Like, Family Matters is a dope record.
Mm-hmm.
There's some incredible rapping on Family Matters. Like, I just wasn't dope enough. Just wasn't, you know what I'm saying? It was just strategically timed, and with Meet the Grams coming right after that is like a LeBron James chase down block pinning against the glass. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a dope record. That record would have knocked out 95% of other rappers. Most other rappers could not come back or would not have a response for Family Matters. It's a tough fucking record. Just wasn't good enough for the moment and for the guy that you were up against.
See, okay, so two things I want to ask you about. So the first thing is, you know, I've had the theory, because the daughter thing did have me kind of scratching my head, but then as I'm starting to see more and more information, whether it be through like Ebony Prince or whatever's going on, I'm like, is it actually done? One, if it, let's just take it off the table.
Mm-hmm.
When I started seeing the reaction specifically of women who I'm assuming had a certain vision of the avatar that Drake represents. When I listen to that verse, if I think about it as an artist, metaphorically, I started making a connection between that being him, more so, less about exposing the daughter and more so exposing the character of the person that's battling. When I started seeing like women on YouTube that were crying after hearing Meet the Grams, I said, well, I wonder why that is. I got goosebumps because I was like, this whole thing is just spooky. But I didn't get that until I started saying, well, I wonder now if they're viewing him from the lens of being, you know, a deadbeat dad, the lens of being weird ass uncle, because of the way that was presented and they saw themselves in the little girl that was described. That was my one theory on that. I don't know if you had any thoughts.
Yeah. No, for sure. I absolutely. It is tearing down his character the same way Drake tried to tear down Kendrick's character, the same way KRS tried to tear down MC Shan's character, the same way Nas tear down Jay's character, because that's a lot of what. You know, yo, you're ugly, women rejected you. This is what Nas was saying about Jay. Oh, this is where your insecurity stands from. You think girls because of your looks. Negro, please. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I remember that.
Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, we also have to stop acting like this is something new. Like rap battles are the dozens. It is tearing you down, tearing down your character, tearing down the public persona. You know, Cannabis Against LL. I read the book that you rap and you sniff coke and your kids, and this is what Cannabis was saying to LL. Like, this is what it is. It's tearing down one's character. So yeah, from that degree, less about the daughter, probably more about tearing down who he is, and maybe there is a daughter. My point is my point was this: it's like when Pusha T said it, we seen his son right away. So the impact of that just hits harder than you telling me there's a daughter, and then we don't see a daughter, and then also we seen that trick already. Like, okay, we seen that finishing move already. That wasn't Kendrick's ultimate fatality. He had more in store, but what I'm saying is when I'm commenting in real time, I'm like, I'm being very real about this stuff. Like, I'm like, yo, like this shit is dope. But when Pusha said it, we seen the kid, and that was the impact. You know what I'm saying?
I get it, and you had a few takes where I was like, sometimes you talk and I'm like, all right, you Rob, you're right. We gotta start acting like adults again, because we get to taste some blood, and everybody can get it, especially if you out here apologizing. But then you had a take that made me kind of humble myself and look at it from a different perspective. I gotta ask. You said even after J. Cole's apology, he's still number 2 in the big 3.
Yeah.
And I said, at first I wanted to rebel against it because I was like, ain't no way, that ain't hip hop. You don't apologize. And then I thought to myself, I said, well, he's not suing nobody. And 2, it's in line with where it seems like he wants to go. What made you say that? And did you catch heat for saying that?
Yeah, I caught a lot of heat for saying that because we were bloodthirsty. J. Cole would say bloodthirsty. Everybody wanted to see blood. But everybody was hungry for this battle. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. But if we're being real, first of all, once Drake and Kendrick started going at it, there's no room for a pause, a 3-way. You didn't want to hear, once you heard once Cole dropped 7-minute drill, it's like, yo, his heart's not in it.
Right.
Because it wasn't a good diss. I know Cole didn't believe that To Pimp a Butterfly was whack. He was recycling a lot of Jay-Z bars that Jay threw at Nas. Like it didn't feel like Cole's diss. It kind of felt like this is the diss record that I have to put out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It just wasn't going to be good. I thought Cole bowing out, while at the time it may stung, I was like, when he got on that Dreamville stage and said what he said, I said, man, that's a very J. Cole thing to do. If you're a J. Cole fan, this is in line with who J. Cole is. I am not surprised. Like, the initial moment was like, oh, did he just do that? And then when it sinks in, it's a very J. Cole thing to do. He's going to be all right because as an artist, he's being true to himself.
Yeah. I always saw it like it. I always said to myself, this is probably going to make a lot more sense when the Fall Off drops.
Yeah. And
context. Yeah.
And then you go back to it. It's like, and I don't believe everything Drake does is evil or wrong or whack. Like, I'm just not that type of person or fan. But there has been a spiral. Like, I like the 100 gigs. When he did 100 gigs, I said, do more of this. Remind people of why they loved you. You know who did it? Cole, with the Inevitable podcast. He said, oh, okay, y'all not fucking with me, but my fans are. I'm going to make my own podcast series. We're going to have our own private chat where I'm just going to take the people that love me and hold them closer and just super serve them and remind my fans why they love me. I'm going to do a garden concert, and then I'm going to do $1. I'm going to sell 2014 tickets for $1 to remind you of what those Dollar in the Dream concerts were. I'm going to invite y'all to the rehearsal. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he did very J. Cole things and got back to who he was. And Drake did things that we have to be critical of. Like, the lawsuit isn't it. In my opinion, like dog, like this lawsuit is, and I get it. And it's like, well, he's up against UMG and why are we defending UMG? Bruh, if you knew that you were going to renegotiate with UMG, why engage in a battle in the first place? If you were worried about leverage.
That is a brand risk that you don't take when you're that concerned about the renegotiation.
Yeah. But then what your fans tell us every day, and the narrative that's being spun is you're still the top streaming Spotify artist. You stream more than anybody. So despite losing this battle, if your numbers are still the top numbers, that means the revenue you bring in is still the top revenue you bring in. So is your leverage, I don't know why that balloon went off. So is your leverage really hurt? If the dollars you're bringing in, if the dollars that if your streaming didn't take a hit after this battle, that means your streaming revenue didn't take a hit after this battle. So why is your leverage? It's just things that don't make sense. It is more. And look, I feel for him, dog. It's like it fucking sucks for the whole world to call you a PDF. I get it. It fucking sucks. It like that has to be terrible. I get it. But I just feel like these moves are only making it worse. Like I think the lawsuit makes Kendrick and Not Like Us more infamous. It was like Groundhog's Day. It's like, 6 more weeks of winter. It's like, lawsuit, 6 more weeks of Not Like Us. Like it just makes it more infamous. You know what I'm saying?
Because how do you describe that in the future and not say, hey, this song is crazy, but did it make somebody put a lawsuit against their label?
Yeah. So I just think it was a bad move. I think, and again, me trying to be compassionate and empathetic, I get how being under that pressure could have you making some bad moves. But kudos to the guy who, despite all of that, says, you know what I'm gonna do with all this pressure, me being J. Cole, I'm gonna get back to who I was. I'm gonna censor myself, and I'm gonna take a hit, but I'm gonna get back to being who I was. And everybody got a part to play. Back to yours, Jay-Z, classic.
Well, it's even bigger than the battle for this. I mean, this is a staple interview, man. This is one of those interviews where everything from the color correction to the way that it was framed, pacing of the questions, it just feels iconic. And this is one of those moments where when you think about an artist's career, there's no way they don't try to redo this in the biopic, right? This is a crucial moment because of where he was at also too, and where you were at. Your Kendrick Lamar interview is one of the best long form convos that is out there. What stood out to you the most in that conversation that still sticks with you?
It was just a conversation between two guys. And you're right about the color correction. I had nothing to do with that. The framing, I had nothing to do with that. Shout out Adam Murphy. Stacy was on set, I believe. Like, shout out to anybody that I missed, but the crew. It's not like we had a long time to set up. We got in that room, they set up right away, they set up the shot right away, and we just went. It was really one of the most natural, for as revered as that conversation was, it wasn't produced.
Don't it be like that too? Don't it be just like that? The ones you go overboard for be the ones that end up being duds.
It wasn't no, hey, approved questions. Here's what you can ask and what you can't ask. Hey, hey, speak to Kendrick before and just let him know so he could be prepared. It wasn't none of that, bro. Is that because we already had a relationship? You really just saw two guys talking. You saw one guy, me, who had a genuine interest in the music and how it came together and where his mind and his heart was at when he was making these records and writing these records. And then you had a guy on the other side who was open enough and giving enough to share. I mean, he's talking about suicidal thoughts. He's talking about survivor's remorse. If you get to the question, survivor's guilt, if you get to the question where I asked him about Black of the Berry and the criticism that he's been getting, you could see the emotion, the frustration, the on his face, like responding to that. Everything you seen was just a real conversation between two guys, I think, who have a respect and the trust of one another. I know I could speak from my end. I hope he would say the same thing, but that's up to him to say. That's what it was. That's what it felt like. And it felt like God was in the building. Somebody asked me after the interview, yo, how'd it go? And I was like, I guess it was a great conversation for me. I hope the rest of y'all like it.
DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Stop being greedy. Peace.